Hello there. There's barely a day that goes by without some news headline or other reminding us of the climate change emergency. This is serious stuff, and it's hard work getting people to face up to the crisis that is already here, and that will worsen before it gets better, even if we do manage to address the issue sensibly. The science stares us in the face. It's not open to serious or sensible challenge, and to deny it is simply to stick our heads in the sand, which is rarely the best option. So where will you place your faith under such circumstances? In science? Well, actually, yes. Technological advances that address carbon emissions are a significant hope. We place our faith in God-given human ingenuity. In politics? Well, actually, again, yes, we have to believe that politicians will work together internationally to address climate change. We place our faith in our capacity as human beings to cooperate politically and globally. Our politicians may need a bit of a shove from the people, but we need to believe that politics will provide at least part of the answer. What about religion? What about God? What about the faith we have in church? Well, actually, yes. One of the things that technology and politics alone cannot achieve is changing people, and religion has always been good at that. Part of the reason that today's mainstream churches were so successful in the 18th and 19th centuries was that society itself was having to adapt from a rural agrarian way of life to a new way of life in rapidly expanding industrial cities. Our churches helped people to navigate their way through these disorientating times. The time was right for evangelism, mission, new forms of social justice in a new context where people lived quite differently from how they had before. The time was right. The time is right again for the church to help people transition into another new context. People need to change how they live again. We walk out of step at the moment with the rhythms and patterns of God's created order. We fill the sky with fumes and gases that are choking the planet. We empty contaminants into oceans as we would sweep dust under a carpet. If we can't see the mess, then perhaps surely it doesn't exist. We plunder the land for resources, thereby squeezing the life out of those animals with whom we share the world that God has made. Now, you know all this. We need to change. The question is, are we changing sufficiently and quickly enough to make a significant difference in addressing climate change? Is this an emergency or not? And if it is, what are people of faith doing to change and to help others change too? What are we doing? It's good that we put in place policies that change our church corporately. It's great that we have our Eco Church Awards. We can change our churches as institutions together, but we need to change ourselves too as individuals and help others to do the same. The JPIT Yorkshire conference taking place this summer will help you to address these things. Our keynote speakers are all leading Christian thinkers and writers. Father Diarmaid O'Murchu, who has published widely on science and religion, is leading our thoughts on climate change as an existential crisis. It is different in nature and proportion from the other social injustices with which Christianity normally concerns itself. Richard Borkham is a leading biblical scholar who has wrestled hard with what Christian salvation means for the whole world, not just for human beings. And Stephen Shakespeare has pioneered resources for worship and prayer that connect us to God, to one another, and to the planet itself, on the basis that what we say to God in prayer informs also how we live in God's world. Our workshop leaders are pioneers in some of the practical ways in which our faith is lived out in this new world, where we have to take account of the climate change emergency. The conference itself is all online, with an array of videos to engage with in the run-up to the 12th of June when the conference actually takes place. with the opportunity on the 12th of June to interrogate those keynote speakers that you will have seen on video prior to it. And it also includes the chance to learn from our workshop practitioners. So, if you think that climate change really is an emergency, if you think that God has invested our church with resources to help others and ourselves to change the way we live and move in the created world, then our conference is for you. Follow the sign-up instructions on our leaflets to register your interest and attendance. Thank you.